Listen carefully, because if this message has reached you, it was not an accident. There are moments in life when something calls you quietly, persistently, almost hauntingly, and you don't know why. You don't know how you got here. You only feel that something bigger than you guided your hand, your timing, your path, right to these words. Napoleon Hill tried to warn people about this moment, the moment when destiny taps your shoulder and whispers, "Wake up, you are drifting." What you're about to hear may challenge you. It may confront the habits you hide, the fears you avoid, the potential you've postponed. But if you stay until the end, you will understand why life brought you here, why this message found you now, and what it's trying to pull you toward. So pause everything else. Breathe. Lean in. Because the next few minutes may become the turning point you look back on for the rest of your life. Watch until the end. You're about to hear the warning you were never supposed to miss. A quiet wind moves through the early hours, carrying the weight of something unspoken, something meant for you. There are moments in life that feel ordinary on the surface, but are stitched with invisible meaning underneath. This is one of them. You didn't find these words because your day was random or because the algorithm felt generous. You found them because you've been drifting, and somewhere deep inside, you already know it. Life has been tapping you on the shoulder, whispering warnings in the form of setbacks, delays, frustrations, and silent nights where your own thoughts echoed louder than your excuses. And for too long, you brushed those whispers aside. Napoleon Hill once wrote that the universe sends messages to every person, signals of alignment or misalignment, but most people ignore them because they arrive quietly. They arrive through discomfort, through intuition, through that faint feeling that says something needs to change. You've been feeling it, haven't you? That strange sense that you're meant for more, yet held back by something you can't fully name. Something internal, not external. Something that lives in your patterns, in your comfort, in your hesitation. And so destiny guided you here, to this moment, to this warning, to this awakening. This is where reflection begins. The truth is, your life has been shaped less by grand events and more by small, repeated decisions made in silence, those moments when you choose distraction over discipline, comfort over growth, fear over faith. You don't speak about them. No one sees them. But they are the roots of your results. And now, you're being asked to look at them honestly for the first time. The realization comes slowly at first. There was never a lack of opportunity, only a lack of readiness. You weren't unlucky, you were unfocused. You weren't abandoned, you were unaligned. You weren't being punished, you were being prepared. Every frustration, every closed door, every delay in your life was a message, a warning, a nudge toward a path you've been avoiding. But today, revelation comes. You're not late, you're not lost, you're not behind, you're right on time, because you're finally ready to hear what you once ignored. Apply this truth now. Nothing changes until you acknowledge your hidden habits, the ones done in the dark, the ones that shape your destiny without you realizing it. The moment you confront them, you take back your power. And so you breathe, steady and calm, as a new conviction forms inside you, a resolution. The quiet promise that this moment, this message isn't just heard, it's received. For the first time in a long time, you feel awake. I am the master of my thoughts, and through them I shape my fate. A low hum of tension follows you into the next moment, as if the air itself knows something inside you has shifted. You feel more alert, more aware, as though a veil you didn't know existed has been lifted. This is where the second warning begins, not in chaos, but in clarity. Life has been trying to show you patterns, and now you're finally seeing them. The same obstacles repeating themselves in different forms. The same habits pulling you backward. The same opportunities slipping through your fingers because doubt spoke louder than desire. None of this was accidental. It was a message, a pattern meant to catch your attention, a signal that something within you needed to change long before the outside world could. Napoleon Hill warned that the greatest enemy any person will ever face is not poverty, not rejection, not failure. It is the quiet, comfortable voice that tells you you can do it tomorrow. That voice has stolen more dreams than fear ever has. It convinces you that delay is harmless, that waiting is wise, that caution is noble. But deep down, you know that's not true. Delay is a thief dressed as patience. And every time you obey that voice, you surrender another piece of your potential. Reflection washes over you again. You think about the moments when you felt the urge to act yet didn't, the times you felt inspired yet did nothing, the nights you made promises to yourself only to break them by morning. These aren't failures, they're warnings. Every broken promise chips away at your self-belief. Every postponed action strengthens the chains that hold you still. But realization strikes. You've been living between two versions of yourself, the one you are and the one you could be. And the distance between them is measured in decisions, not dreams. Nothing changes by wanting. Everything changes by doing. Then revelation rises like a flame. The warnings weren't meant to scare you, they were meant to save you. You weren't being pushed down, you were being pushed awake. All the restlessness, the dissatisfaction, the quiet frustration with your own life, it wasn't punishment. It was your potential demanding expression. It was your inner greatness refusing to stay silent. Now comes the application. You place your attention inward, noticing the small choices that shape your days, the moments where hesitation wins, the habits that drain you, the distractions disguised as comfort. And you decide, genuinely decide, that you will no longer negotiate with the voice of delay. Not tonight, not tomorrow, not ever again. A resolution settles into your chest, steady and unmistakable. You are no longer the passive character in your story. You are the writer. You are the force. You are the one who chooses the direction now. A calm confidence fills the space within you as a new truth lands with power. My decisions define my destiny. I act with purpose, and purpose moves me forward. The air around you feels heavier as you step into the next layer of truth. Not a burdened heaviness, more like the weight of realization settling into your bones. You sense that the warnings you've ignored are no longer whispers, they've become undeniable signals echoing through your life. And this chapter, this moment, is where you confront the enemy. Napoleon Hill said, destroys more futures than any external force. The enemy within. Reflection begins as you look at the quiet corners of your life, the ones you usually rush past, the unfinished goals, the half-hearted attempts, the moments where fear disguised itself as logic. You fought invisible battles in your mind that no one knows about, battles you lost quietly, even while you looked strong on the outside. You've carried doubts that were never spoken, insecurities that grew louder the more you tried to silence them. And without realizing it, you built a cage out of your own hesitation. But here comes the realization Hill warned about. The things holding you back aren't around you, they're inside you. Not fate, not people, not circumstances, but the patterns you've allowed to stay alive, the habits you defend, the stories you tell yourself, the ways you shrink to avoid disappointment. You've been negotiating with your weaknesses instead of commanding your strengths. There's a pause inside you, a deep internal shift, because now you see it. The enemy you've been fighting was never fear. It was the version of you that accepted fear as truth, the voice that said, stay small, the comfort that promised safety but stole your potential, the doubt that kept convincing you to wait for a better time, a clearer sign, a more perfect version of yourself. But revelation arrives like a flame cutting through the fog. You are not powerless. You never were. You simply forgot the strength that lives beneath your hesitation. You forgot that discipline is freedom. You forgot that courage grows every time you use it. You forgot that the battlefield is won long before you step onto it, one in your mind, in your habits, in your self-talk, in the private moments no one sees. And so the application begins in silence. You decide, not emotionally, but with conviction, that the negotiation is over. No more bargains with weakness. No more tolerance of smallness. No more accepting less from yourself. You choose to confront the enemy within, not by force, but by clarity, by awareness, by taking back control of the thoughts that shape your days. You start noticing the micro moments where the old you tries to return, the hesitation, the doubt, the excuses, and in those moments you replace them with a different command. I choose action. You remind yourself that every time you act, you weaken the enemy. Every time you move forward, you reclaim territory within your own mind. Resolution settles like a quiet victory, not loud, not dramatic, just a steady knowing that something has shifted permanently. The internal chains have loosened, the inner enemy has been exposed. And once you see it clearly, It can no longer control you. You breathe in deeply, grounding yourself in the new truth that rises through you like a pulse. I master my mind, and my mind shapes my reality. The enemy within has no power over the strength I choose today. A quiet stillness settles around you as you enter the next phase of your awakening. It feels different now, less like you're discovering truth and more like truth is revealing you. This chapter is where the invisible becomes visible, where the subtle forces shaping your life step out of the shadows and introduce themselves. And as Napoleon Hill warned, nothing in your world changes until you understand the unseen laws that govern it. Reflection begins with a simple but unsettling realization. Everything in your life, your habits, your emotions, your results, has been following a pattern, a blueprint, a silent script written by the thoughts you rehearse and the beliefs you accept. You didn't choose these patterns consciously. Many of them were inherited, absorbed, repeated, and eventually embraced as normal. But normal is not destiny. And today, normal is being dismantled. You start noticing the hidden causes behind your outcomes. The days where you wake up tired aren't random. They're the product of a night spent drowning in worry. The relationships that drain you don't happen by accident. They reflect the standards you've tolerated. The opportunities that slip away aren't bad luck. They echo the hesitation you practiced. Suddenly you see it. Nothing in your life has been happening to you. It has been happening from you. Then realization deepens. Hill spoke of the law of cause and effect not as a philosophical idea, but as a universal force shaping your reality. You've been focusing on the effects, hoping they'd change, while ignoring the causes generating them. Wanting better results without becoming the person who creates them. Wanting success while keeping the habits that prevent it. Wanting transformation without changing what you feed your mind. But revelation strikes with clarity. Every thought is a seed. Every emotion a signal, every decision a vote. You've been planting one thing and expecting another to bloom. And life, in its honesty, refused to lie to you by giving you results you didn't cultivate. The universe is fair, even when it feels unforgiving. So the application begins, slowly, intentionally. You start watching your thoughts the way a guardian watches the gates of a sacred temple. You begin directing your attention instead of letting it wander. You choose what you consume, who you allow near your energy, what you tolerate within your own mind. You begin crafting your internal world with the precision of an architect, knowing it will eventually become the structure of your external life. And something shifts, your awareness sharpens, your energy steadies, you feel less reactive, more deliberate, less overwhelmed, more in control. Because the moment you understand the cause, the effect loses power over you. The moment you change the internal, the external begins to bend. Resolution settles softly but firmly. Nothing will be accidental from here forward. You will think with intention, act with clarity, live with design. The hidden laws are no longer hidden to you. A calm conviction rises from within, carrying the truth that now defines you. I align my thoughts with my purpose, and life aligns itself with me. There comes a moment in every transformation when the world around you seems to pause, as if it's watching to see what you'll choose next. You're standing in that moment now. Not a crossroads of fate, but a crossroads of discipline. The truth is, destiny does not respond to desire, it responds to direction. And direction is built through daily ritual. The quiet habits no one applauds, the private victories no one sees. Napoleon Hill warned that without a daily practice of intention, a person drifts, and drifting is the silent destroyer of potential. Reflection pulls you inward as you examine your mornings, your nights, your hours between. How many of them are spent awake but not alive? How many days blur into each other because the mind is on autopilot, repeating tasks without purpose, motions without meaning? You begin to see that discipline isn't about force, it's about alignment. It's about preparing your mind before the world demands something from you. It's about anchoring your purpose before distractions try to steal it. Then comes realization. Every powerful life is built on simple, repeated actions. A few minutes of silence to steady the mind. A moment of gratitude to shift the heart. A commitment spoken out loud to strengthen your identity. One courageous action each day to prove to yourself who you truly are. These are not small acts, they are spiritual architecture. They carve new grooves into your thinking, redirecting your energy, shaping your focus. Revelation rises as you understand that rituals are not routines, they are commands. They tell your mind who is in charge. They tell the universe you are ready. They signal your future that you are stepping toward it with intention. Hill wasn't teaching habits, he was teaching identity. Because when you do something daily, you become the kind of person who does it. You shift not just your actions, but your self-image. And once the mind accepts a new identity, the behavior must follow. Application begins quietly. You picture your new daily ritual, 7 minutes that will anchor your path. A minute of stillness to silence the noise. A minute of reflection to see the truth. A minute of gratitude to open the heart. A minute of intention to sharpen focus. A minute of discipline to strengthen identity. A minute of courage to choose action. And a final minute of commitment to seal it all in. As you imagine this, a calm strength spreads through your chest. You realize that greatness is not built in grand gestures, but in these small, repeated moments of alignment. Consistency becomes your new power. Discipline becomes your new language. You don't dread structure, you crave it. Because structure frees you from the chaos of drifting. Resolution settles as you breathe in a new truth. Your life will no longer be shaped by chance, but by choice. You will begin each day with intention, and you will end each day with alignment. And from within, a steady affirmation forms. I build my destiny daily. My discipline is my power. As the journey continues, you begin to feel something subtle, shifting inside your awareness. It's as though the fog of confusion that once clouded your path is lifting, revealing the terrain of your life with new clarity. This chapter brings you face to face with the truth that growth is not always elegant. It is often uncomfortable, demanding, and brutally honest. But it is in this discomfort that evolution begins. Reflection carries you inward to the moments you avoided discomfort, the phone calls you didn't make, the opportunities you didn't pursue, the goals you started with excitement but abandoned when the energy faded. You see now how often you've chosen the easy path, believing it would protect you, when in truth it only prolonged your suffering. Life wasn't punishing you, it was waiting for you. Hill warned that comfort is a slow poison, pleasant at first, deadly in the long run, and you feel the truth of that warning settling into your bones. Realization comes with a sharp clarity. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, you expand your world. Every time you avoid discomfort, your world shrinks a little smaller. Growth and comfort cannot coexist. One must die for the other to live. And now you understand that the uneasiness you've been feeling lately wasn't failure, it was expansion. It was your old identity cracking as a new one tried to emerge. Then revelation unfolds. The strongest moments of your life weren't the easy ones. They were the moments that pushed you, stretched you, challenged everything you believed about yourself. You grew most through pressure, not comfort. Through urgency, not ease. Through discipline, not indulgence. Hill spoke of this truth again and again. Adversity is not the enemy, it is the doorway to power. The friction you feel is the universe polishing you into someone stronger. Application begins when you finally stop running from discomfort and begin embracing it. You lean into the difficult conversations, you sit with the emotions you once avoided. You take action even when you don't feel ready. You wake up before you want to. You stay focused longer than you thought you could. You choose discomfort not because it feels good, but because it builds the version of you that can handle everything you once feared. And somewhere within this process, a quiet empowerment rises. You begin to realize that discipline isn't punishment, it's liberation. And discomfort isn't suffering, it's transformation. The world opens up the moment you stop shrinking from what challenges you. Resolution forms as you breathe deeply, accepting this new truth with a sense of calm power. You no longer see obstacles as signs to stop. You see them as signals that you are on the right path. You feel stronger, sharper, more grounded, prepared for the life you are building. A final affirmation rises from within you, steady and unshakable. I embrace discomfort, for it shapes me into who I am destined to become. A new awareness begins to unfold as you step deeper into this transformation. It feels as if the world around you is responding to your inner shift. The distractions that once controlled you lose their grip, and the noise that filled your mind grows quieter. This chapter reveals a truth Hill warned about long ago. Your environment is either shaping you or breaking you. And now you're finally seeing the forces that have been influencing you without permission. Reflection sweeps through your mind as you survey your surroundings, not just your physical space, but the emotional and energetic space you inhabit. You think of the people whose presence pulls you upward and the ones who drain you. You think of the conversations that inspire you and the ones that keep you small. You remember the choices you made based on fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of standing alone. And for the first time, you realize how much of your life has been shaped by the company you kept. Realization emerges as you acknowledge that energy is contagious, discipline is contagious, doubt is contagious. You absorb the mindset of the people you spend time with. Hill warned that the wrong environments can suffocate ambition, while the right ones can ignite it. You see now that you cannot become extraordinary while living in spaces built for the ordinary. You cannot rise while surrounded by those committed to standing still. Then revelation strikes with undeniable clarity. You are allowed to outgrow people. You are allowed to outgrow habits. You are allowed to leave behind versions of yourself that no longer serve your future. Growth often requires separation, not out of ego, but out of purpose. Not because you are better, but because you are becoming better. Hill wrote that elevation requires isolation because clarity rarely comes in crowded spaces. Application begins with courage. You start redefining what you allow into your mind. You protect your focus like a treasure. You distance yourself from negativity, not with anger, but with maturity. You limit access to your energy, recognizing that not everyone deserves the parts of you you've worked so hard to build. You begin seeking environments that challenge you, people who elevate you, conversations that nourish you, and slowly you feel your inner world recalibrating. The shift is subtle but powerful. You feel lighter, more grounded, more aligned. You realize you have the right to choose what influences you. You have the right to protect your purpose, and you have the responsibility to curate the energy that surrounds your growth. Resolution settles as you breathe with newfound confidence. Your environment no longer controls you, you control it. You choose who gets to walk with you, who gets to speak into your life, who gets to stand near your vision. And in that choice, you reclaim your power. From within, a final affirmation rises. My environment aligns with my purpose. I choose energy that elevates me. The atmosphere around you feels charged now, as though the universe is leaning in, watching to see what version of you will step forward next. You've confronted your patterns, your fears, your habits, your environment, and now you stand at the threshold of transformation. But there is one final truth Hill warned about, the truth many people avoid their entire lives. Nothing changes until you take radical responsibility for every part of your existence. Reflection pulls you inward as you reconsider your past, not from a place of regret, but from understanding. You look at the moments where you blamed circumstances, blamed timing, blamed other people, blamed luck. You see how often you surrendered your power by believing life was happening to you instead of from you. You realize how easy it was to point outward instead of inward, to justify your stagnation instead of confronting it. Then realization strikes like lightning. Responsibility is not burden, it is freedom. When you accept full ownership of your life, you reclaim control of your future. You no longer wait for permission. You no longer depend on validation. You no longer expect others to fill the gaps in your discipline or motivation. Hill warned that until a person stops blaming and starts claiming, they remain powerless. But the moment they take ownership, life rearranges itself in their favor. Revelation emerges with force. Your life is not the result of luck, but of alignment. Not the result of fate, but of focus. Not the result of chance, but of choices. You understand now that responsibility is not about guilt, it's about authority. It means your future answers to you. It means your habits bow to your decisions. It means your mind follows your command. Application begins with a simple but powerful vow. My life is my responsibility. You feel the weight of the words settle into your spirit, not as pressure but as empowerment. You decide that excuses no longer serve you. That blame has no place in your vocabulary. That procrastination cannot coexist with purpose. You take responsibility for your mornings, your energy, your mindset, your reactions, your discipline. You stop waiting for a perfect moment and begin creating one. And as you do, the world around you seems to shift, not magically but predictably. Because when you change your posture toward life, life changes its posture toward you. Opportunities feel closer. Decisions become clearer. The fog that once clouded your direction begins to dissolve. You feel aligned with the person you were meant to become. Resolution settles as you breathe in a new, unshakable truth. You are no longer a passenger in your own story. You are the author, the director, the architect, and your future will unfold according to the level of responsibility you embody today. A calm, powerful affirmation rises within. I claim my life with authority. My destiny is shaped by my choices. A deep stillness surrounds you now, different from the silence you felt before. This one feels sacred, like the quiet at the center of a storm, where everything is calm, everything is clear, everything is understood. You've traveled far through the landscape of your own mind. You've met your fears, your patterns, your potential, and your power. And now, in this final chapter, you stand in a place of complete awareness. Hill wrote that true transformation is not loud, it is quiet. It is the moment a person recognizes who they are and who they must become. Reflection arrives softly. You think back to the person you were before this journey began, the one drifting, the one waiting, the one ignoring the warnings life tried to send. That version of you wasn't weak. They were simply unaware. They needed guidance. They needed awakening. And that awakening has now arrived. Realization settles like a warm light in your chest. Nothing in your life was accidental. Not the setbacks that redirected you, not the frustrations that pushed you, not the delays that protected you, not the longing that refused to let you settle. Every part of your journey was preparing you for this moment, the moment you finally decided to see clearly, to rise fully, to accept the power that was always yours. Revelation flows through you as a quiet truth. The version of you that once hesitated is gone. The version that doubted is gone. The version that feared discomfort is gone. You've stepped into a new identity, not because of motivation, but because of mastery. Not because of luck, but because of alignment. You understand now what Hill meant when he said that thoughts become things. You've seen how awareness becomes power, how discipline becomes destiny. Application becomes gentle now, not forceful, not demanding. You don't need to push yourself into transformation anymore. You simply need to be the person you've become. The discipline will follow naturally. The purpose will guide you. The clarity will lead you. The world responds to identity more than intention, and your identity has changed forever. Resolution descends as a peaceful certainty. There is nothing frantic in your spirit, nothing unsettled, nothing confused. You feel grounded, strong, aligned. You understand the warning now, not as fear, but as direction. You understand why you were guided here, not by accident, but by purpose. You understand your future not as a hope, but as a responsibility. You sit in this stillness, breathing in the calm power that now belongs to you. A new chapter of your life begins not with noise, but with knowing. And as the final truth rises within you, you feel it anchor into your soul with eternal clarity. I am aligned. I am awakened. I am ready.